Right, I just want to talk to you about just-in-time logistics. As many of you may know, this is how our logistics work nowadays. We don't have big warehouses full of things for weeks, if not months. We have a couple of days' supplies of things in the warehouses, and we rely on deliveries just in time before we run out. And it's a wonderfully efficient and cheap way of doing it. But it lacks foresight, doesn't it? Because it relies on the fact that delivery is always going to be constant. There's going to be no problems. And as we know from driver shortage and what's happening in Ukraine, that's just not the way it works. And it takes me back to school and the story of Joseph and his multicoloured dream coat. I don't know if you remember that one. And he had the dream of the 7 fat calves, followed by the 7 skinny calves. And he took from that, it's going to have 7 bumpy years, followed by 7 really bad years, famine years. And so what he did was, in the good years, he put some grain to one side and then managed to go through the famine years. Why were they so much better than us? Ukraine was pretty much predictable, wasn't it? If you think about it, in 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and the intention was clear. From then you could see that even if he didn't do it, he was thinking about it. And Ukraine is about the 6th biggest exporter of grain, Russia being the 7th, and Russia is in OPEC and one of the world's big exporters of oil. So we could see there's a potential issue rummaging right back in 2014. And what did we do about it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it just makes me wonder why, like Joseph before us, why don't we have someone, probably under the Foreign Office, who's basically, he's there to look for alternatives, to look for problems that are going to happen in the future, and to plan contingencies, a contingency officer, if you like. So he plays games of what if, and he looks at where the world's going and what potential ramifications that could have for this country, and then he plans outcomes for it and what we're going to do. Are we going to ramp up grain production in Britain? Are we going to start storing oil like America did so that we've got supplies? So instead of when things happen and people ask the government what are you going to do about it, it's like, well, we didn't know. It's like, well, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We thought about this and this is the plans. This is what we're going to do going forward. Because the way it's working at the minute is just pathetic. So that's what I think. I think the government should have a contingency officer. Maybe every country should have one, and maybe they should work together and plan for possible outcomes in the future. Because the way it's working at the moment, well, it's not working at the moment, is it? Let's be honest. If it was working at the moment, we wouldn't be facing a grain shortage. We wouldn't be facing oil shortage with rising prices. We've got all this because they're not planning properly at number 10. Thoughts? I'd like to hear them.